Welcome to Science News Daily with Mike Garcia.
Breaking news. A riot has broken out in the downtown Rogersville at the fraternity clinic over the controversial topic of designer babies. For more on the topic, we are here with the specialist Dr. Assi. Good afternoon, Dr. Assi.
Good afternoon, Mr. Garcia.
So why don't you give our viewers a little background information on what exactly goes on in the process of creating a so-called designer baby and why there is so much controversy over this topic?
Well, to make a designer baby, the process of in vitro fertilization is utilized. This is the act of fertilizing eggs with sperm in a test tube outside the mother's body. Currently, only two types of fertilization are legal. One process is the ability to choose the type of sperm being used in fertilization. Another is screening embryos for genetic diseases and selecting clean embryos to be implanted. The Cas9 is a protein that is used to cut DNA sequences. It can cut any DNA sequences when guided or told to. This means it's capable of cutting out any mutations in the DNA of the embryos. The Cas9 protein gives us the power to change DNA sequences of any species for the better.
For our viewers to better understand the process of in vitro fertilization, we have included a short informational video brought to you by the Foundation of National Geographic.
IVF really is a natural process, even though it's outside the human body, because it allows us to put sperm and egg together and create an embryo, which is no different than what happens in nature.
First, Inez begins a regimen of hormone injections that will stimulate her ovaries to produce more than the customary 1 egg per month. Now, it's time. As hoped, many eggs are ready. One by one, 27 precious eggs are retrieved. When the safety of the eggs is assured, Daryl's semen is collected. Embryologist Bob Prosser will filter out the dead and less healthy sperm. Dr. Prosser positions the egg, magnified 400 times, and readies the single sperm he has selected from a pool of hundreds. The sperm is injected, and the critical moment for fertilization arrives. Then he repeats the procedure, guiding sperm to another egg. Overnight, DNA from Inez's eggs and Daryl's sperm unite, and 13 of the 27 eggs show the telltale dimple that indicates success. With exquisite grace, 1 cell becomes 2. 2 become 4. For 5 days, the embryos are monitored. Finally, the division creates masses of cells known as blastocysts, and any one of these blastocysts may become a part of the Pearson family.
Here, if you look at the outer shell on this center embryo, it's very thin. The embryo is getting ready to hatch out of its shell. It's a very nice blastocyst.
After 6 days of growth in the lab, Inez's embryos are ready for implanting. 3 embryos are put into a single catheter and guided onto the lining of Inez's uterus.
I didn't get really excited because they say, there's a chance that it might not work, might not be successful, and we don't want you to really get your hopes up too high, so I just kept it like that.
So far, it sounds like designer babies are a good thing and can actually help prevent diseases from carrying on in families. So what is the big problem?
Well, many people have ethical problems with this process because they believe parents will go to clinics with the intention of creating a child for physical and mental perfection. From a materialistic standpoint, it causes a loss for individuality within our society. Recent developments and in vitro fertilization in Australian clinics have shown that babies born in natural birth, about 1 out of 20 of these children will be born with birth defects. For babies born with IVF, 1 of 16 were born with birth defects. Research is still very experimental, but shows great possibilities.
To get a personal opinion straight from a client at Rogersville Clinic, we are talking to Ms. Atlee's Myers. Hello, Ms. Myers. I received word that you came down here today to find out further information on how the fertilization process, and we'd like to know why.
Well, throughout my family's medical history, there are many diseases, both physical and mental, that are very strong. When we met with my gynecologist, he said that the chances of our child being born with a life-altering disease was very high. So we decided to look into ways to prevent it. As soon as we arrived here, however, dozens of people were surrounding us with hatred calls.
Stop designers! Death to designers!
I can see.
I just want my children to have long and healthy lives. I don't see what all the fuss is about.
I do hear that research is still very experimental and somewhat unsafe. Does that scare you at all?
Well, it is a little nerve-wracking knowing that I'm messing with my child's genes before they've even grown out of a cell. It also scares me that the statistics have shown that the process can go wrong and harm my child. But I've done my research, and if my child is born with a life-altering disease, they will have a very low quality of life and may not even survive. This process could possibly improve the life of my child, and I am willing to take a risk to give my child the best life I can with what I have to work with.
Sounds like a loving mother to me. But how do you feel about the views of others looking down on you for your decision to have a designer baby?
In my opinion, the process is a great advancement, but I do recognize the negative views and opinions of this process. However, I am not changing my child's hair or eye color. I am not trying to make them the smartest in their class. I am trying to give them a long, healthy life, and I believe it is my choice what I do with my child. I'm not forcing this process on others who do not share my opinion, but I'm using it to my advantage.
This is a compelling argument. Now we will hear from someone on the opposite side of this issue. Hello, why don't you tell us your name and your opinion on designer babies?
Hello, I'm Rachel, and I believe that designer babies are not a good thing for this world.
Now, why do you believe that?
Designer babies can limit the diversity in the world. Some parents will be more concerned with the appearance of their child. They will try to make them athletic, attractive, and smart. This process makes everyone similar and can get rid of some races of people if their genes are found undesirable.
Yes, that is true. But like Atlee, some people have a deep family history of mental and physical diseases. All she wants is to make sure her child gets a long, healthy life.
I understand that, but some people do not have such pure intentions, especially people with a lot of public pressure on the appearance of their babies, such as celebrities. If given the option to create a perfect baby, they would jump on the chance. You can also change the sex of the baby, and that is too much against Mother Nature, and can give way to bias over one gender instead of the other.
What if there was a way to make sure that designer babies were made purposely to avoid disease, and changing the appearance, characteristics, and sex of the child will not be changed?
Each human is placed into this world with a specific purpose given to them by our Lord. We cannot mess with God's true intention. Scientists already try to drug our holy bodies with drugs, trying to control our minds and make us believe their nonsense procedures by the process of creating a child to your liking. It's the work of Satan.
Wow, that's a very strong statement. So you are saying that a lot of people opposing this process believe it goes against the way of the Lord? Did God intend for some people to end up with rare abnormalities and mental diseases?
These abnormalities are simply the outcome of the pills and fluids that have been placed into our bodies. And in humans' natural form, none of this would happen.
Now, Rachel, I'm going to have to disagree with you on that matter. These pills have been created to help combat the many physical and mental obstacles that people have to deal with in our society. In the United States, we are truly lucky to have...
Lucky? These pharmacies control our lives.
You may believe that, but as I was saying, the medical advances that our country has made has helped save the lives of so many people. If you look at third world countries who don't have the access to such tools as us, they experience a larger health deficit, resulting in the loss of many civilians. Because we have such advanced medical power, don't you think we should be able to experiment with new improvements and procedures such as creating a medically altered embryo?
Just because as a country we have the resources to do these things, that doesn't make it right. We have the sciences to destroy nations, but that doesn't mean our government goes around randomly killing people, does it?
The world sees this process as a way to get rid of genetically inherited diseases. We want to take this opportunity to further improve our world, not create perfect genetically engineered human beings. It is not meant to be offensive to religion, but to make the lives of families that deal with horrible and life-threatening diseases easier. And it can help prevent early death because of disease.
That is the problem. Before you are even born, God has a life planned out for you. Not everyone is meant to live a long and healthy life, but everyone has a predestined purpose. Designer babies not only change the child you were meant to have, but destroy them completely. By altering their DNA, they are no longer your child.
Well, thank you for sharing your opinion on designer babies. I can certainly see some of the negative views surrounding this controversial topic, have some truth to them. If you have an opinion on this topic, please send it in. We'd love to hear it. Remember to tune in tomorrow for the latest news.
Do-do-do-do. Boom, boom.